Welcome to the Shekina Meditation Podcast, created by Shekina community members. Shekina communities are dedicated to creating free devotional spaces of Christian practice for spiritual seekers and travelers around the world. We post Christ-centered guided meditation each week to help you in your personal or small group practice. You can find episode, show notes, and other information at shekinacommunity.com.
Hello, this is Ro.
This is Ray.
This is week 9 of the podcast. Can you believe it?
9?
9.
Seriously?
Yeah, really.
Sweet.
And we are pleased as punch to be here, are we not?
We are pleased as punch.
Indeed.
It's Thursday, November 1st, as we record this. A whole new month. And we're going to be getting the extra audio out very soon. We'll tell you more about that. Woo! Ro, how has your week been?
Oh, my week has been pretty exciting. I've had a very special visitor. Ray, you recorded this intro by yourself last week because I was down in Chiang Mai picking up my mum.
Yay!
She's
Rose
here
Mama's
for 2
here.
weeks.
Aww.
Yeah. So she's here and being part of all the stuff that we do.
We
and
love
coming
your
on to
mom.
the garden. Yeah, she's such an easygoing visitor, and she just really loves coming in, being a part of all the community stuff that we do here. Yeah, so it's been really lovely.
Lovely to have her.
Mm-hmm.
What else? We had, I guided a devotion circle on Monday.
Yeah, that was gorgeous.
But it was not our regular one. It was a time of just singing, and it was really great.
Yeah, I really
was
love
super fun, and we took turns guiding songs. Like lots of people, we just either shouted them out for someone else to play, or Ro, you were especially good at calling out when you wanted someone to play a song.
I like bossing people around.
Yeah, well, or drawing out their natural talents. That was really fun, and yeah, so maybe a person might sing a song, and then they might say, "This is a song." It was pretty cool.
It was really beautiful. Yeah, I enjoy those sorts of devotion circles.
And lots of instruments, lots of singing to God, lots of praising God. It was beautiful.
Yeah. And on Tuesday, Winnie guided meditation. And that's going to be our extra audio for the patrons this month. So don't miss out. Sign up at patreon.com and come and enjoy the extra audio.
Yeah, any patron will get the extra audio, and you can donate as little as $1 a month. So yeah, don't miss out. And she's got it's a pretty fun fun. I don't know. It's a great meditation with she does quite a lot of breath prayer in it, and then a very simple meditation, right?
Yeah, it's really beautiful. There's a bit of visualization and breath prayer particularly is really lovely.
So don't miss out. Get the extra audio.
Yes,
for just $1 a month. You had Open Voice today with Chinua, right?
So good. So that's this group that Chinua runs every week where we are learning more singing techniques, I guess, and ability to listen to each other and hear intervals, like the gaps between the notes and all that sort of stuff. And so there was maybe 10 of us or so there today, and we worked a bit on that and then sung this amazing Latin song called O Salutaris, which is full of all these crazy chords and dissonances and strange movements, and there's just so much going on in that song. It's really, really fun. It's very hard. It's a challenging song to sing. Each line is fine, but when you put all the parts together, sometimes they just make these wild chords that are really challenging, but so great. Yeah.
That's amazing for a little group of people on a Thursday afternoon in the garden, that kind of part singing. That's actually pretty challenging.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, it's sort of just, we're all just amateurs really, most of us, but it's a pretty specky song.
One thing I love is when our worlds sort of come together. So Chinua's been singing in choir since he was a teenager, and I love to see the traveler world and the choir thing coming together. And I don't know, I feel like that with a lot of the things we do, whatever it is, circus and what we do, or singing, or I don't know. It's cool when that happens.
It's beautiful. Yeah, worlds kind of colliding in a lovely way. Yeah, and you were working on some weeding today, Ray, were you?
Yeah, I was working on weeding. Yeah, and
Thank you.
I I'm trying to weed the front, and it's very wildly overgrown. So I'm hoping to plant some new things in there and make it beautiful again all along the front fence. And but it's taking some time.
Yeah.
They're really intense weeds. It's
Yes.
like they're the size of trees, and they're just intense.
Yeah, this time of year we've had so much rain and everything has just grown
exploded.
6, 10, 12 foot into the air in the last 6 months, last 4 months.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, huge. And I think, Neil's still working on garden beds. So he was laying some bricks today, I think, or at least digging. I don't know what he was doing, actually. He was doing something. And he had propped up a shade cover for himself because it's so hot in the sun.
Yeah, that sun still bites.
So, that's been this week.
Good week.
Good week. This podcast is supported by you. Because this podcast is about meditation, we would like to keep it ad-free, and we will keep it ad-free. It will always be ad-free. But our beautiful patrons at patreon.com support us for as little as $1 a month, and patrons get extra audio every month. This month, it will be Winnie's meditation from Tuesday. You can find us at patreon.com/Shekina Meditation Podcast. There's also a link to Patreon on the blog, which is shekinacommunity.com. We currently have patrons who are supporting us for a lot of different amounts. Right,
Yeah,
Rob?
we do. We have some people who are supporting us for $3 and $5, and then one crazy, amazing family who's supporting us for $100 a month.
$100 a month.
It's outrageous.
That's nuts.
It's so kind.
But it's very helpful to us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so even some small amount a month, cup of coffee, that kind of amount would be really helpful in helping this podcast keep going and just helping our communities keep running, keeping them free for travelers and spiritual seekers. And it just also helps us know that you really appreciate what we're doing in putting this podcast out into the world. You're the best, patrons. We love you. Knowing you is like swimming in an ocean filled with phosphorescence.
Which is like swimming in stars.
Yeah, it's the most magical thing. It's like living in a fairyland.
Yes.
That's what you make us feel.
That's what it's like to know you. That's what it's like to have you as our patron. Today's meditation is Lectio Divina on Zephaniah 3:14-17, and that's with you, Ro. You guided that one, and it's recorded live at Shekina Garden in Thailand.
So this meditation has 3 parts. During the first part, I offer some guidance on bringing the heart and mind into a quiet state and just preparing for meditation. The second part, I read the verses with a lot of silence, read them through and ask a couple of simple questions. Then in the third part, you can either journal your experience or share in a small group if you're doing this meditation together. Try to listen well without interrupting each other or correcting each other. A talking stick is something to indicate who is sharing. That can be really helpful, just to pass a stick or a stone around the circle to take turns in sharing.
It's good to learn to listen to each other. Let's begin. Christ-centered meditation is about creating space in our minds. It is a time of quiet that allows room for the Spirit of God to speak to our hearts. We learn to master our thoughts and come back to a place of focus, again and again, to be quiet before the divine presence of God, and to spend time with a single thought or idea. Meditation is a Christian practice like prayer or study, worship or fasting. As with all practices, there are easy and hard days. But as we bring this practice into our lives, we grow with it over time. We learn to love this spacious place with God, who invites us to grow in the silence with Him. If you find that you are distracted and need to keep drawing yourself back to your focus, do not be discouraged. This is the muscle that you are exercising with meditation, and I believe that this act of refocusing is the heart of meditation. Be kind and encouraging to yourself as you practice. You can follow along alone or with others in a quiet place. outdoors or at home. A quick warning: we don't recommend meditating while driving. Be safe.
So as we start this morning, I'd just like to invite you to find a comfortable position for your body. You don't need to be still for the whole meditation, but for this first part, let's just find a position that we can hold for a little while. You might like to roll your shoulders up and back. You might even like to imagine a little string pulling up through the top of your head so that your spine's nice and straight. It just allows us to breathe a little deeper and easier. We might like to let our eyes close gently. And let's draw our attention to our breath. Just breathing normally and comfortably and noticing the sensations of our breath. You might notice the parts of your body that move with each inhalation and exhalation. You might notice the sensations in your nostrils. You might notice the change of temperature of the air as it comes in to as it goes out. As we begin, I would just like to again welcome you to this space. You are so welcome here. Whatever your path is in life, whatever has been your spiritual journey so far, whatever has been your interaction with Jesus, even if there's been zero interaction so far, you're so welcome here. We've made a Rangoli of circle of colour, of flowers here in the middle here, as a symbol of welcome to the divine, to remind us that God is here, the Spirit is here. And the Spirit who is here also welcomes each of us here. So as we breathe, you might like to imagine inhaling the welcome of God, the invitation to sit with God. As we sit and breathe, let's draw our attention to our bodies, feeling where the air touches our skin, noticing the sensation of our clothing, paying attention to what parts of our body are resting on the floor or on the other parts of our body. Just noticing our body in space. You might like to imagine looking at yourself with your mind's eye, just noticing your body. A sense of touch. What can you feel? How about the sense of taste? Can you notice anything on your tongue? Breakfast or toothpaste or anything at all? And your sense of smell. Is there anything you notice passing by you on the breeze? Even though our eyes are closed, they're still working. How about your sense of sight? Can you see any colors or shapes? Any sensations of where the light is coming from? Let's turn to the sense of hearing. Just notice all the sounds that surround us here. Natural sounds, sounds made by people. Is there a sound that you think might be the farthest away sound? How about the closest sound or the smallest sound? As we've been sitting still for a little while, you might be beginning to notice aches or pains in your body. Just invite you to take a few moments just to relax the different parts of your body where you might be holding tension. You may again like to roll your shoulders up and back, just as much as is available to you. Bring relaxation to your body. Are you clenching your jaw? Just let it relax. Is your brow a bit furrowed or frowning? Just let those muscles in your face be relaxed as well. Is there tension in your hands or your legs, your hips? Just do what you can to relax them a little. And as we breathe, we might like to imagine our breath filling our body or moving to those parts of our body where there is tension or pain. And just helping those muscles to relax. Feel free to sigh if that feels good to you. Often we can notice that when our body is still and relaxed, that's when we can notice that our thoughts are perhaps not so still and relaxed. So we're just going to take a few moments to notice our thought life, our feelings, what's happening on the inner world. Not judging those things that are in our minds and hearts, just noticing them. You might like to imagine your thoughts are like a stream or a river. And perhaps you're a little bird sitting in a tree, watching the river flow past. Just noticing them as they go by. If there are any that continue to come and bother you, just making the decision again to let them go and pass by. You may like to imagine flying up a little higher into the tree so that the stream is just a little further away from you. Perhaps the sound of it moving past is a little quieter. Perhaps there is a few more branches between you and the stream. You're still noticing those thoughts, but they're a little further away from you. You may like to fly right up to the very canopy, the very top of the trees, so that you can't even see the stream at all anymore. And above you is just clear blue sky. You might like to memorize this feeling right now of a still, quiet body and a mind that is perhaps just a little clear or a little more calm. It's very normal during meditation for thoughts to come back and interrupt. When that happens, I invite you just to return to this feeling of stillness and quietness. You might like to again imagine yourself in a clear open space. Or you might like to again imagine that those thoughts are just flowing by you. And just to nudge your attention back again and again. That's what the practice of meditation is really, just nudging our attention back again and again, just practicing that focus and that attention. Being kind to ourselves. As we turn to the second part of our meditation, I'll be reading from our text a number of times. As we start, I invite you, if it feels good and right to you, to perhaps turn your palms upwards as a sign of listening to God, a sign of receiving from the divine. A physical prayer, perhaps, saying, I'm listening, I'm here. The passage I'll be reading today is from the prophet Zephaniah, who spoke to the people of Israel in the ancient past, around 2,500 or so years ago, speaking of a time when the people would again be free. So in this passage we hear about a few places. We hear of Israel, Jerusalem, Zion. Zion is just sort of another name for Jerusalem, but can be considered the spiritual Jerusalem as well. As I read for the first time, I just encourage you to ask the divine, is there a word or phrase for me in this passage today? Is there something specific for me to hear, for me to notice? And as the words go by, perhaps just pay attention to one or two or a sentence that stands out above the others. If none do, that's fine as well. But just letting them flow by you and seeing what might stand out for you this morning. So from Zephaniah chapter 3, starting at verse 14. Sing aloud, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O Israel. Rejoice and exult with all your heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. The Lord has taken away the judgments against you. He has cleared away your enemies. The King of Israel, the Lord, is in your midst. You shall never again fear evil. On that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, Fear not, O Zion. Let not your hands grow weak. The Lord your God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love. He will exult over you with loud singing. During this second reading, I'll read each phrase or sentence 2 times and then leave a couple of minutes silence between each one. I invite you in that silence to play with the words, to run around in them like a little kid. Are there pictures that come up for you, or memories or ideas? Is there again a phrase or word that shines out to you above the rest? If it feels good to you, you can again invite the divine to speak to you through these words, to draw your attention to what there might be for you in this passage today. Can you put yourself into these words? Is there a space in this passage where you can find yourself? Could these words be directed towards you? Sing aloud, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O Israel. Rejoice and exult with all your heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. The Lord has taken away the judgments against you. He has cleared away your enemies. The Lord has taken away the judgments against you. He has cleared away your enemies. The King of Israel, the Lord, is in your midst. You shall never again fear evil. The King of Israel, the Lord, is in your midst. You shall never again fear evil. On that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, Fear not, O Zion, let not your hands grow weak. On that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, Fear not, O Zion, let not your hands grow weak. The Lord your God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. The Lord your God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love. He will exult over you with loud singing. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love. He will exult over you with loud singing. During this last reading, you might like to again ask the divine if there's a word or phrase for you. You might like to ask, why do I need to hear this today? Or you might also like to spend time during this reading responding back to the divine. Your most honest and genuine response. Perhaps it could be like a conversation. Perhaps it could be just offering your thoughts back to God. Perhaps just even again turning your palms upward. Responding just as it feels right to you. Sing aloud, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O Israel. Rejoice and exult with all your heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. The Lord has taken away the judgments against you. He has cleared away your enemies. The King of Israel, the Lord, is in your midst. You shall never again fear evil. On that day it shall be said to Jerusalem, fear not, O Zion. Let not your hands grow weak. The Lord your God is in your midst. A mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love. He will exult over you with loud singing. As we draw this part of the meditation to a close and move to the third part, to our sharing circle, I'd like to invite you to slowly, in your own time, bring your attention back to the here and now.
When you are ready, take a few deep breaths and begin your time of journaling or sharing with others. Thank you for joining today. There will be a new guided meditation each week, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or sign up for our newsletter to get podcasts delivered to your inbox at www.shekinacommunity.com/podcast newsletter. Have a beautiful week. Blessings to you.